closed out of Skype when I was trying to minimize it. That's how we start the show. That's how we started the show. After me and Marcus talked for 36 minutes, I accidentally dropped the call. Marcus, I thought I could just close the window by clicking the X. Nope.
I'm like, that was hella premature tonight. I'm like, all right, Groot. I'm Groot.
I'm Groot. No, not that one. I'm Groot. No.
It was an alternative ending. We filmed two endings for spoilers, but
All right. Anyway, so I'm Chad. He's Marcus. This is the Wrestling Underground podcast. We got some stuff to talk to you about tonight. Some of it's interesting. Other of it's infuriating. We're going to start with one of those infuriating things right now. Because, of course, it's Bully Ray related. So, this is all sorts of dumb. So, John Moxley will have a drinking problem because alcoholism does not get cured. It's a condition you have to deal with, manage, and keep under control for the rest of your life. And he sought treatment for that. Get himself off the sauce. Get his mind right, get himself healthy. He looked fantastic. Came back, last Wednesday. Had his first match back last Friday. Everything went good. His wife's happy. The fans are happy. Everyone's, doing their golf clap like. But then here's Bully Ray. The fucking bastard who once said, "Don't boo my wife or girlfriend," to the fan who was booing Velvet Sky because she was a heel. Like, this is a dude who incited riots in Philly by calling people, derogatory terms for homosexual. Like, that's who this dude is. Like, he literally gave Rene Dupree, post-concussion disorder. Rene Dupree is, genuinely afraid of having CTE already, and he's in his late 30s, early 40s because of the shit Bully Ray put him through. This is a bad human being. Always has been. Always will be. But he went gross. Like, just not needed gross on the Busted Open radio show, where he said that John Moxley owed fans an apology for going to rehab. Now, I want to be clear. I read the transcript. I listened to the show, mainly just that portion of it. And he did say that he believed that John Moxley owed an apology to the fans who bought tickets to go see him and were not able to do so. That's what he said. But keep in mind, he wasn't there not because he's Jeff Harding around the planet, doing whatever with God knows what. He wasn't there because he was in rehab. So it may seem truncated to say, well, he didn't actually say he should apologize for going to rehab. But he was in rehab, and Bully Ray demands an apology for his absence. So yes, he's saying, de facto, ipso facto, that because he was in rehab, he owes the fans an apology. And Marcus, I've had some interesting takes on over our years. I've said some things. I've never said anything that is within 500% of what Bully Ray said. And to be fair, I listened to the last president of the United States say some horrendous shit. And I was left thinking to myself after Bully Ray's comments, I have never heard anyone say something that stupid. Because at least with the orange Cheeto, he was trying to rile up his base. Maybe he didn't even believe it. He seems like a great shit poster, right? Just says anything to get a reaction. He's a troll. But Bully genuinely meant what he said. And who's no one's sticking up for him. Renee Paquette, the former Renee Young, John Moxley's wife, took him to task I was a fan of you. I liked you. We were friends. You have John's number. You owe him an apology. You still haven't given him one. And I'm like sitting here going, holy shit. Like, I felt like I was watching a horror film because she's slashing Bully Ray up with a switchblade, not even blinking while she's doing it. And I'm left here thinking, who the fuck in their right mind would actually send that bastard back out on the radio show? Like, let's be honest. Busted Open Radio has about as much credibility as Midas Oil Change does in the healthcare community. No one takes them seriously. No one should. They're morons. Tommy Dreamer is a nice guy, likable guy, sure, but his opinions and general views on the wrestling industry are about 30 years out of touch. And we've known this for a while. This isn't some new Dreamer-is. Dreamer's a guy that we like because we want to like him. It's not because we think he's inherently invaluable. He's decent. People like him. He's got good rapport, and he has a great ability to develop relationships with people in the back. That doesn't mean his ideas are good. So, Bully Ray, Tommy Dreamer, who is it? Dave LaGreca, I think, is the other guy. Like, holy God, these people just, they're not as influential as they think they are. And they say some dumb shit, but never have I been literally disgusted with someone's comments as I have with Bully Ray. And Mark is like, I don't know, man. Like, this whole thing has me worked because even if he's just shitposting, even if he's just healing out, why the hell would you do that? Like, there's a time and a place for a lot of things, but there's never a time, there's never a place to demand an apology for a person for bettering themselves. And like the one-to-one I can think of is like all these body positivity, fat positivity people yelling at people for losing weight and eating healthy. Like that's the one-to-one. Like, you're mad that someone's improving their life? What the fuck is wrong with you? That's all I gotta say, man. Like, I don't know. If you have an opinion, I'd love to hear it.
I mean, ultimately, first off, everything you said, 100%. But for me, I was like, it's a shit take from a shit person. So at least he's consistent.
Fair, fair.
It's
Fair.
single-handedly, and we got a lot more this year to go. But that may single-handedly be the worst wrestling take of 2022. And like I said, we got a lot more year to go, and wrestling Twitter does not sleep. Um, yeah, man, it's pathetic, but ultimately, to one of the points that you brought up, it just shows you who he is. That's who he is because like, you owe him an apology. You said Renee was like, you owe him an apology. He hasn't given him one yet, and he isn't going to. And if he is, it just shows you that he's even more full of shit because it's going to be opposing apology. He genuinely was like, I think he owes the fans. Who I'm like, once you pay your ticket to see the show, regardless of who's on the card, they got your money.
Mm-hmm.
Like we've talked about instances with this back with the whole CM Punk thing when people was like, he left us hanging high and dry. He owes us. We paid to see him. We paid his bills. Yada yada yada. It's that same, just trash. I'm owed everything from you because I feel like I participate in your success mentality, and it's the fact that it comes from a guy who came from an era where, and I saw somebody else mention this, where the wrestlers wasn't smart enough to make the right decisions for themselves the way Moxley did here.
Mm-hmm.
Because they thought it was better to die on a sword than lay down on their shield and live longer. You know what I'm saying? So it's again, it's a absolute trash opinion from a trash person that, unironically enough, is consistently trash. It's not like we've, gotten on the show one of these times and started off the show praising him for anything. We don't, I think the last time we did praise him was his bully work when he was doing it in Impact. And that was more so in the bubble of what that was at that time. Nothing since. I don't tune in to Busted Open. I haven't listened to a Busted Open interview in years. He's the reason I stopped watching Ring of Honor. He's the reason I stopped watching Ring of Honor. Um, but yeah, we don't praise him for his commentary now. We don't praise him for nothing he's really done since he stopped being an active performer. We certainly don't praise him for his choices in women. And yeah, like I said, I think the best thing about this is he picked another opportunity to show everybody why everybody's always loved Devon Moore. To the point where even Paige said it. Like, he just fucking goofy.
Wait, which page? DDP or Adam Page?
Uh,
Oh no, yeah,
Saraya.
yeah. Never mind. Because I just remembered that she had Paige from WWE said the same thing. Oh, that's too damn funny.
But it would have been hilarious if DDP came out and quote tweeted him. This take, that's not a good thing. Oh man, but yeah, it's absolute garbage. And yeah, I mean it's weird. I hope the John had didn't consider him a friend, because this will be, if he did, this will be twice now. First Rollins, because we all remember that debacle of a break meltdown over social media. Um, and now this. Like, it's weird, the stuff that'll come up that really make people, that'll really show you like who people really are that are around you.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just, it's, yeah, man. It's but again, God, ultimately, God bless John. He's back. He looks healthy. And that's ultimately what um is the best takeaway from all this. Any fans that agree with Bully Way, I'm pretty sure you in the crowd that was like, seeing Punk owed us. You probably still think he owes you, even though he's back. So it's just, you're never gonna be able to get anything good out of people like that. They always think they're owed something from everybody all the time.
The only person John Moxley needs to apologize to is one himself, because
Mhm.
whenever you struggle with addiction and you let yourself down, you need to forgive yourself.
Absolutely.
But the only person in his orbit, granted, I know like they just had a daughter, but she doesn't know what the hell's going on. You don't need to
Yeah.
apologize to a baby, because a baby's like fucking dumb. They're good. Don't worry about it. They won't remember. But like he had to have an apology for his wife, no doubt, because to go to rehab, there's always a catalyst. And it's never just like sitting on the couch Sunday afternoon. Renee, sweetheart, I think I need to go to rehab tomorrow. Oh, okay, dear. It's never like that. It's never like that. So there's always some cataclysmic event that leads to you need to go to rehab to straighten yourself out. So he needs to apologize for that to her. She's the only one who's owed an apology. He doesn't owe one to the boys. He doesn't owe one to Tony Khan. I was like, Shad, Shadiq. Nope, they're all the wrong Khans. Because I just read a Jaguar story. So like we're going to segue, because I need to say this real fast once I'm done. But like, that's the only person. Like no one else needs a apology. Not the fans, not the boys, not the girls. No one. Just Renee. And if his daughter was a little bit older, then his daughter. But like outside of that, he owes no one an apology. Bully Ray, on the other hand, does. Speaking of AEW, Tony's father's team, the Jacksonville Jaguars, has hired the best candidate they could ever have hoped for. Byron Leftwich. Marcus, I'm going to be very invested in the 2022 Jacksonville Jaguars. I loved Byron Leftwich when he was in Marshall. He had one of the most all-time greatest college plays. I don't know if you remember this. I don't know how into 2002 MAC football you were. But he broke his ankle, or like he severely strained his ankle. He couldn't walk on it. And they were like in the middle of a game-winning drive, and he couldn't put any pressure on it. So he summons his offensive lineman to him. They get underneath him, and they carry him to the line of scrimmage. He stands there, and he leads his team to a fucking comeback. It's like the greatest sequence I can remember. I think they won. It was 20 years ago, and it was a Marshall football game. If I didn't get the final right, that's fine. But him being carried by his teammates to the line of scrimmage so he could continue to throw the ball for the Marshall Thundering Herd is like iconic. Then he had a pretty decent run in Jacksonville. Granted, not the best. But then again, decent in Jacksonville is like Tom Brady in New England. Like, that's the comparative. So this is a great hire. I'm very excited. Byron made Tom Brady look like he was 32 for the last 2 years. So like, this is
No,
cool. I'm excited.
I mean, first of all, that's great to hear. Specifically coming off of two of the greatest NFL games I've seen in the last
Whew,
10 years.
whew. I had to call my
I mean,
cardiologist a few times during that Bills game.
and I didn't catch it live. I didn't catch those games live. I went back and watched the highlights, and I was like, damn, this got me wanting to play Madden so bad.
If only Madden wasn't so trash.
Jesus, it got me wanting to play Madden for real, man. Like this is like it, and it wasn't just a Brady show. It was a show, period. Like this was. You live for stuff like that, and when you're actually playing the game, but to see it if you're not a fan of football at all, those two games made you a fan,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like, oh man, that's what it's about though, man. And it's kind of an added bonus. And I have nothing against the guy, but it's kind of added bonus anytime Brady gets knocked out, because it's just like, can we switch the narrative, please? But yeah, it was excellent. But it's good. The Jaguars, I feel like, haven't really been good since what, the early 2000s.
No, they were good 5 6 years ago. They went to the AFC title game, but that was like a 1 year explosion. They fell off the next year.
Yeah, because didn't they have like, wasn't Fournette a running back for them?
Yep.
And now he's on what, the Buck
Tampa. Yep.
Tampa. Yeah, yeah. Because I'm like, yeah, because Fournette showed out, and obviously we know we got to start. But yeah, but because last time I was rooting for them. I think who was their quarterback? Gerard. So that's kind of way back.
That
But
was like almost a decade ago. David
yeah,
Gerard.
yeah, so I haven't checked in with them in a while, but it's good to hear that they coming up. So
So to clarify, it was several series. He broke his left tibia, his shin, essentially. He rallied the team to a 17-point comeback against Akron in November of 2002, but the Akron Zips were still able to win 34-20. So still an iconic moment. Like, that was still awesome. So
yeah, I mean that's something you put in a Remember the Titans movie or something like that. But
you can make an entire movie based off that moment alone, even
that's
though you
great.
lose.
Yeah, man, that's iconic.
All right. So speaking of iconic, Mustafa Ali has fans, and I don't know why.
Not how I thought this story was gonna kick off.
It is an iconic confusion in my brain.
Like this must have happened in the past week because I saw none of this in the last what, decade.
So let me be clear. This is one of those I want to like Yaitis guys, in my opinion. Like, he's a good dude. He's a dad. Marcus and I are a big fan of good dads on the show.
Mhm.
He's former Leo, former law enforcement officer, big proponent of changes to the criminal justice system. So like, he and I are vibing. Three things we're vibing on. But every time I watch him, I go, I could watch 1,000 more entertaining individuals than you. Like, there's nothing wrong with Mustafa Ali. His name's dumb. I hate it. It's so generic. It's like, oh, like Vince was like, hey, we should name him Ali. Because, like, Aladdin, that shit's hilarious. I love little monkey dudes fighting guys with big swords. It's hilarious. All right, Vince. Well, that's his last name. What do you want to call his first name? I don't know. You know that movie? It's fucking good. It's The Lion King. Always breaks my heart when the hero dies. You mean Mustafa? Well, he was the hero. Who do you think the hero was? Scar. Always tragic when the nephew kills him. I cry every time. So what do you want to call him? Scar Ali? Yeah, that sounds great. How about Mufasa Ali? How about Mustafa Ali? All right, I guess we'll go with that. Whatever. So I don't know why Vince named him this. It's like the most generic Middle Eastern name you could think of besides calling him Sheikh Mustafa Ali. But I feel like this dude may actually find success elsewhere. We talked about this last week for sure. And like, he did have like a cool look, like the Sub-Zero look was dope. I think that's why a lot of people liked him, is like he brought like that Sub-Zero blue lighting effect, with the little glove thing. Like that was cool, but they did nothing with that. So maybe if they steer back into that, they can find something. But overall, like he's a very fine in-ring worker. He doesn't have a bombastic personality. He looks like a dude that I would be neighbors with. Like he's unimpressive. And when you're trying to be a star, you need to be impressive. So, if you like him, you like him. That's fine. There's a lot of guys I like that no one else does, and that's fine too. I just don't get the appeal. I don't see the hype. But he requested his release. We think he should be released. He's an independent contractor. If he doesn't want to, abide by his contract and he's an independent contractor, he should have the right to void the deal. That's why he's an independent contractor. If you don't want him to have that right, you need to make him a full-time employee. Excuse me. Because in that case, he would be paid significantly more. He'd have health care and coverages and all that, which he doesn't have as a WWE wrestler. So he asked for his release, and we've got an update from that over the weekend, and the WWE basically are not going to release him. And it led to a Twitter campaign. Free Ali. And now I have Prince Ali stuck in my head. God.
Prince Ali.
Fabulous he, Ali Ababa. We did a Disney medley in the 8th grade choir, and that was one of the songs. That and I can show you the world, shining, shimmering splendor. It's like, all right, we get it. You like alliteration. Personally, I'm always a fan of the Prince Ali song because they have the scene where the goons, the palace guards, are like doing the dance and like, he's got the monkey, he's got the monkey. And Abu is like where my affinity for small, they're not marsupials, but small, the primate-like animals come from. I didn't like that movie for any other reason than fucking Abu. Abu's great.
And Aladdin was appointment TV just for the intro.
Yes. Oh, my God, that animation.
Yeah, man.
And then, like, the rising tiger from the sand, like, that gave me nightmares. That gave me daymares. That gave my nightmares. That's night squared mares. That's Knight Rider scary. If you watch the Knight Rider theme without the music, that's horrifying. Like, that entire intro, just a car with a red flashing light driving across the desert, like, that's some Cylon Battlestar Galactica bullshit. It's horrifying. And then Mr. Feeney's yelling at you to get in the car. Like, Jesus Christ, this show's horrifying. So Ali doesn't get his release. Makes no sense why. He hasn't even been on TV in a while. It's just, this company's just the worst. They're just the worst human beings. They all suck.
They've literally dissolved all of, what was the name of that S&M faction from hell? I was gonna call them Sanity. No, that's being disrespectful.
Requiem, Desire, Fubar,
Nutsack, Crowbar,
the death of Donovan Dijakovic.
Basically, that base sums it right up.
Nope. What you just said. They're basic. That's the name of the group, Basic.
It's like making him the leader of that. God knows the start to finish. Now that's gonna be an interview people are looking forward to for no other reason just to get his take on how that crap started to where we eventually saw it on TV and then obviously the aftermath. But yeah, Ali, talented, all the stuff that you say about all the other names, which is ironic. Like all the people that you just threw to the wolves over the past year for the reason you gave, for the insane reason you gave, considering the fact that I would assume that the company's making hand over fist, and you won't let him go. All the people you let go, but you need Ali. I feel like you're trying to spite him. It's like God damn it, we still employed him. I thought you'd let him go in the last batch. Nah, damn it, But no, he don't get to ask for his release. We let him go surprisingly.
Marcus, give me my brand back.
They're spiting him for not being lumped in their cuts.
I was literally about to say, I could imagine Nick Khan and Vince McMahon are sitting there going, "Who do you want to release? Let's release Mustafa. We're not using him." And then he walks in the door, guys. I don't know. I think it's time for me to move on. Can I have my release? We'll get back to you. And then he leaves. And then Nick Khan just looks at Vince McMahon and goes, "We're not fucking letting him go. No goddamn way." And then Nick Khan just takes his contract and put it back in the pile. Like, okay. I was literally thinking that as you were saying it.
He, oh my God, I think Vince is getting his races mixed up again, because we know what happened with that's right, Sheldon. Shout out to Mark. Um, I feel like he thought Ali was Veer that still comes. I was like, no, we got to debut him.
Indian, Muslim, what's the difference? I don't know, Vince. About, 12,000 miles, give or take. God, I hope it's 12,000 miles, because otherwise I don't know geography for shit.
Jesus.
Is 12,000 miles a long distance or a short distance comparatively? I don't know.
Oh my God.
Like, it's like 160 miles to Columbus from Cleveland. I know that.
Like, you don't get to ask for your release. You get fired at the most inopportune time. Like right before your wedding or on your birthday or while you're reading your child a book before bed.
I can just see, like, Mustafa's walking down the hallway, and Vince, just all you see is, like, his head and, like, the top part of his shoulders, but he's horizontal. Just pops out of the door. "Hey, Mustafa, anyone in your family having long pre-existing health conditions that need to be covered by your contract?" "Nope." "Damn it." Slides back in. Comes out from underneath his car. "Hey, Mustafa, is your wife pregnant with a high-risk pregnancy?" "Nope." Slides back in. "Hey, Mustafa, are you currently injured and or needing your contract to make sure you can pay off your medical bills?" "Nope." "Fuck." And he slides back in. I got a splinter." "Mustafa, you're fired." "What?" "Not splinter time." "Damn it."
Just hearing that now, I'm thinking about, because like we nobody anticipated us being now what 2.5 years into this thing,
Mm-hmm.
with this whole pandemic thing, and just like we're eventually gonna get to a point where there's gonna be a commercial that starts off, "You're not you when you have COVID."
Oh my God!
Like,
Could you imagine if Snickers is the reason why COVID ends?
oh my God.
We need him on a ventilator. Wait, no, don't use a ventilator. Give him this, a Snickers bar. It'll work. And they shove it down his throat and he dies. Well, at least he died tasting something great. Snickers. You're not you when you have COVID.
They're like, "Go try the new Snickers XL. Our nuts just got bigger."
There's a scene with like a wife and a husband looking at the candy wrapper. "Honey, I don't find I'm not comfortable with this new candy bar." And the husband's like, "What? But my nuts just got bigger." All right. So yeah, Mustafa doesn't get released, but there seems to be a pandemic of sorts in the WWE. Too soon? Because Mustafa Ali's not the only one asking for his release, but also the Brian Kendrick, which was the dumbest gimmick I've ever seen. What are we going to call him? Let's call him the Brian Kendrick, and we'll put him in a jacket. What's his gimmick? The. Oh, okay. That makes sense. We'll go with that. Numbnuts. So Kendrick wants out. He's done. He hasn't wrestled in 34 years, 186 days, 14 years. I don't remember.
Wait
He
a
has
minute,
not
hold on here.
wrestled since 2020.
Wait a minute, he's still under contract as a performer. I feel like,
Yep.
because I haven't seen. Well, I haven't. I stopped watching 205 Live, so you're probably right.
It's still
2020.
on, too.
Oh God, that's ridiculous. Yeah, he
And they don't involve cruiserweights anymore.
and he didn't get lumped. See that's weird. You're not letting go of names that off the top of the head would have been lumped into these waiver cuts.
It's really just stupid. According to WrestleZone, Kendrick has not wrestled for WWE since October 2020, where he teamed up with Mansoor Isn't this the guy who's supposed to be showing up soon?
Now I want to say that Mansoor. I want to say is that because Ali was beefing with somebody. I think no, Mansoor's the smaller guy.
Oh yeah, you're right. He is the smaller guy. Who's the bigger guy?
Veer.
Veer. Veer is coming. Send Veer.
Rinku Singh.
You know, I actually, if I remember this correctly, this dude actually had a movie based off of him. Veer. He was in a movie. He wasn't specifically, but there was a movie based on him called The $1 Million Arm. I've never
Yeah.
watched it, but it was who was it? John Hamm, I think. He goes to India and he tries to find cricket players who he thinks he can turn into pitchers. But like the funny thing was like the movie came out when the experiment of the transitioning from cricket pitchers or what the fuck they're called, hurlers, to Major League Baseball pitchers was still ongoing. So it kind of seemed like, oh yeah, this could still totally be a thing. These guys could end up being huge. They were both very bad. They were both very bad. It wasn't good at all. And Shiraj Sharma played Rinku. He was on the show God Friended Me, which got canceled because what a terrible concept for a fucking show. Oh, he's also now on the cast of How I Met Your Father.
Mm.
So yeah, he's a former athlete in cricket and pro ball, I guess. I don't know. It is what it is. I don't know if we're ever going to see Veer.
Yeah, it's a little running gag at this point. When by the time we do see Veer, I'm pretty sure he won't last too long anyway. They'll get him out there and then be mad it didn't go how he thought it was gonna go because they drained it too long, and then they'll pull him back and try to switch the gimmick. How many times? How many times was that Funkasaurus gimmick was supposed to drop?
Oh
Before
God,
that,
that's right.
it was like, oh God, this is what it was. You made us wait for this. Um, but yeah, this is vintage WWE. I just think it's ironic that they dumped so much of their roster and people that want to leave voluntarily can't.
And like not even like we're not even talking about like Seth Rollins or Roman Reigns. We're talking about Ali, who hasn't been on TV consistently in almost a year, and Brian Kendrick, who hasn't been seen in nearly a year and a half. They're not being used. It's not even like these are big primary players in your day to day. So if they don't want to leave, or if they want to leave, just let them leave.
We we can't lose key. We can easily drop people that would be perfectly suitable for a Royal Rumble. But you bastards are trying to get out of being in that train for the 24/7 title. No.
It's not even that. You bastards refuse to sit in the back and eat catering? How dare you? We spend almost $20 a day on those Subway sandwiches. You will eat your portion and you will be happy. Damn it. Could you imagine? Like, that's the new spokesperson for Subway. WWE wrestlers and catering. They're just sitting around eating sandwiches going, it's a living.
So when we say let them eat cake, we're talking about you.
I had to explain to a girl recently what the concept of to have your cake and eat it too meant. Because she generally didn't realize that cake disappears when you eat it. Like, it took her like an hour for the realization that if you eat the cake, you no longer have it. Hence the phrase, you can't have your cake and eat it too. I swear to God, this world is too stupid.
That had to be Yeah, that had to be a turn on.
No, it wasn't. I prefer mine more possessive and obsessive than just flat out absent-minded. Like if some chick breaks into my house with a knife and is like wearing my clothes in bed after our first date, I'm marrying her.
He's like, I like my women more Dale Gribble and less Luann.
Nah, it's more like I like my Mickey James is before 2008. I like the crazy stalker types. They're fun. They make me feel alive, even when they're trying to kill me.
Yeah, we all were neighbors one day. I see I'm gonna have to do regular check-ins. This is this is that, like if something happened, it wasn't self-harm. It's just somebody set a scene on my friend. Now I see I'm gonna have civic set of skills. It's out.
I don't know. For me, I think a marriage isn't really a marriage if you don't have to auto cancel an email to not go out every night to inform people that you are in fact still alive, right? Like if you have an auto email that goes out to inform everyone that you are dead and to investigate because it was not how it looks, then is it really love? If you don't have at least 6 Kevlar vests on rotation for when she gets emotional, are you really in a happy relationship? I don't think so. Listen, I've actually been in one of those relationships. It ain't as much fun as I'm making it out to be.
No, I know. I know. That's why it's funny. It's like he still want that same energy. It's like I barely made it out alive, but God, was it fun.
Uh, you, you're not wrong. It was a lot of fun. Uh, Christ. So yeah, let Brian Kendrick go. Just do it. Like, what are you doing? Like, it's like that kid who's like, "Hey, can I play with your block? Can your little cousin who's 3 play with your blocks?" And you're 14, going, "No, they're my blocks. You're not playing with the fucking blocks, kid. Just let them go." Like, criminy.
If all you gonna do for the most part is bring in celebrities and people that used to work for you and call them, give them titles to make themselves feel better about their time there and work over narratives for PR rumbles, you don't need these people anyway. The people like Summer Rae got more credibility than half of the women on your active roster anyway.
And
Sad.
that's not because she had a great run either.
Exactly.
I liked Summer Rae as a character. She was fun, very flirty, but she had like no wrestling acumen, which is baffling because she was a great athlete. She was a pro dancer. And I don't mean the fun kind that takes off their clothes. I mean the boring kind.
Yeah, it's weird because I was like when I'd never raise up on Twitter about something like that. I don't care. It's just but I mean it's classic WWE again spinning a narrative and it's weird because they don't even spin narratives that ultimately benefit the people they're spinning them about. They just spin them for whatever needs to happen at the time. They do that same stuff with Chad and Chad's talked about it extensively.
Mm-hmm.
But they do that stuff all the time. But it's like it's like weird because she's another one of those ones who could have probably done more had she been given the opportunity. But I feel like you toss around the word legend. I'm like, I think you use that word for somebody like one of my favorites that eventually retired, and Layla, who came from the Diva search to go on and have a bunch of matches, who got tons of respect. And I think she was the women's champion or Divas champion at one time.
I think she was both.
Yeah, she had a hell of a run. To me, that's a legend. Like she rode all those waves coming from the Diva search.
I would not say if I had moral authority to check mark and highlight and decree whatever I wanted. I would not say that Layla is a legend because my listing of legends would be far tighter. But I'm also
Yeah.
the same guy who says there are 7 superstars in the NBA, but everyone keeps talking about this 30 or 40. And it's like, no, there's not that many superstars. There's like 6 or 7 guys that can carry a team to the playoffs. Stop trying to tell me Russell Westbrook's a superstar. You're lying to yourself. No. James Harden's not a superstar. Super buffet eater? Absolutely. Superstar? No. So like I'm very harsh with my critiques, with my cutoff. So that doesn't mean that Layla is a bad talent. It just means that the women legend cutoff is Awesome Kong, Gail Kim, Trish Stratus. Are you in that echelon? Hell no. But is she more deserving of being called a legend than Summer Rae? Hell yes. In fact, that's the story that should be made into a movie. She was literally a hip hop dancer, I think.
Yeah,
I think
she was a was
she
she
was
a
with
my
I think she was with the
yeah,
Miami Heat's dance team, right?
yeah.
And she was British. So she probably had no idea what basketball was when she first started coming over and dancing for the Heat. Do they kick the ball through the hole? No, Layla. You're adorable. And like then she goes on to the Diva Search, and that's like a maligned process. No one gives a shit. We just want to see pretty girls in skimpy clothing. That's the whole reason the whole search exists. And she makes something of herself, despite the rough start to her run. That's a hell of a story. And then she
Yeah.
retired on top. Kind of lacking ceremony. Like Trish had that big farewell, and even though Lita's was crime time throwing her panties in the audience and making fun of her for having Vagisil in her bag or whatever it was. At least it was like a moment. Like you didn't forget when Lita left the company in '06. People weren't happy about it because of the way they did her, but
Yeah.
then again, she was only a year removed from cheating on Matt Hardy, so it wasn't exactly like she would have an easy departure anyway. But
Yes.
anyway, we got to talk about Royal Rumble stuff now. No, AEW stuff. 'Cause apparently, we got 4 upcoming free agents in Joey Janela, Marco Stunt, Brian Cage, and Lio Rush. Why is Lio Rush always on the end of something? I'm retiring. No, I'm not. I'm retiring again. No, I'm not. I'm definitely retiring this time. No, I'm not. I'm signed with MLW. Now I'm with AEW. I'm retiring. I'm in the WWE. I'm going to Mars. Now I'm back from Mars. Like, Leo, it's okay to make a commitment.
Yeah, it's it's interesting, and he is one of my favorites to watch. But in all the conversations we've had about him, and all the trials and tribulations, in the ring, out of the ring, the common denominator is him.
Yeah.
Something is maybe not all the way right in certain areas. With the indecisiveness about situations, like you said, the not stick to itiveness with organizations, troubles that keep coming up. Obviously, we saw the thing with the whole Khan situation, but I think we both agreed most of, if not that entire thing, should have been handled offline.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I don't think that Big Swole was necessarily wrong. I don't think Tony Khan was necessarily wrong for sticking up for himself. Neither of it had to be online. No one had to talk about it. That was shit you should have handled in-house on all fronts. Just sometimes conversations are better left with people who know what they're doing. Big Swole cannot express herself to the degree that she needs to, and no one can, to explain the situation to hundreds of thousands of people. She can't correlate her experience in a single interview. Like, that's impossible. That's too much to ask of anyone. And Tony Khan, like, could you just imagine, like, damn, I am getting kicked in the dick for no reason right now. Like, what is going on? So, like, everyone just kind of looked bad, and it was just a rough situation, and, like, cooler heads needed to prevail. And I don't blame Leo for speaking up because, again, his experience. I get that. And he even said that he talked to Tony Khan, things were good. Like they found some middle ground, and I respect that. Because I like when people can have a disagreement and still talk like adults. I think my issue with Leo only ever comes down to his exorbitant expectations. If you were to say, "Hey, I'm going to take half a year off from wrestling," okay, that's cool. Have fun. You got a little kid. You're married. That's fine. It's the I'm retiring for realsy this time. I'm super serial. That's when I start to go, my dude. Do you understand that there are different words in the English dictionary that you can use to probably describe what you want to do? You don't need to say, I'm going to murder you when you're just mildly annoyed that someone flipped you off in traffic. Like, that doesn't make me happy. I am saddened by that middle finger. Like, you can express yourself. And you don't need to overreact when you do it. I feel like that's like his whole shtick is like, he probably never means that he's going to stay retired, but he doesn't have any other way to formulate how to express himself. I am physically and mentally unwell at the moment. I feel a need to recharge my battery and soak in a hot tub every morning and not worry about traffic. So I'm going to take 3 to 4 months off, spend time with my family, and rest my body. But I'll be back, say, around April or maybe June. Cool. Instead, it's, I'm retiring. Ugh. And then you're just gone. Like, what?
Yeah,
Oh.
it's funny because we was before, we consistently got off into talking about the troubles of a Leo Rush. I feel like we was having this similar conversation to a greater extreme through social media about ACH.
Yup.
But it felt like the same case where he was finding himself in these tough situations, and it's certainly not to take away from his experience, because I'm sure there was a lot of truth to what he was going through or being put through by in certain instances. But also at the same time, I think he was kind of falling in and mostly out of love with the art itself because of what he was going through, and he needed to take some time, not just for how he felt about wrestling, but for himself, and go away and collect himself and maybe find some new inspiration and whatnot, and then come back to it. I feel like the in and out thing with Leo isn't granting him. He isn't granting himself the grace to do that for long enough to
Mm-hmm.
come back and make definitive decisions about it. And I don't know if it's like he feels like, I need to get in while the getting's good, and obviously he has the family obligations, so you got to get the money while it's can be gotten. Or it's just like you said, it's the indecisiveness that he's caught up in. Because a lot of times people can get caught up in these loops and get addicted to them. Like,
Mm-hmm.
we see these type of negative habits in so many different facets all the time. But yeah, it just sucks because he really is that good of a talent. But it's like like what can you do when you're your own worst enemy? We've seen this with Orton so early on in his career, and to an extent, he's gotten you know using both hands quotation marks is better as he's gotten older. A lot of that's had to do with him obviously having been a family man more, but for the most part, those negative traits kind of either fade out or they just show up in other spaces. In fact, Leo is like, I don't know, man. You might just have to check out for a little bit, man, and kind of just go do something else. Because right now, like I said, in all these situations, the common denominator is him.
And like, I don't think Leo's doing anything necessarily wrong by having short stays places. I think
Yeah,
the biggest issue is the way he's correlating what he wants as an individual to his audience. Because here's the thing with wrestlers, they're more akin to musicians than they are pro athletes. Because with musicians, you do your thing. You can reinvent yourself, you can change who you are, you can do whatever. And you're not really, held to any specific situations. When you're a pro athlete in the NFL, the NBA, what have you, you're tied to a contract. You have certain obligations you must fulfill, and in turn, you have certain limitations that you have. You are more an employee than an independent contractor in that regard. So, like with Leo Rush, he's a musician in a lot of ways. He's a artist. He can decide to go and do whatever he wants, but as long as he's keeping a line of clear communication with his fan base, we're good. I don't need him to pop up in AEW for 4 years working every show and never taking a day off. If he's like, I'm not going to work in June, but I'm going to work in July and August and take September off, then come back and do 3 months in Japan. Okay, that's cool. It's the lack of reliability in what he's talking about. The inability to take him seriously when he says something because of his backtracking that has caused a lot of concerns for his career. Because if he keeps saying one thing and doing another, how can you take him to heart? The dude has literally said he's retiring 3 different times. And if he never meant that he was going to stay retired, then don't use the term retire because that is a specific term. Say you're taking a break. That's the same thing that you do, but at least we understand that with the term taking a break, the idea is that you will return eventually. And I feel like if he starts to figure that out and starts to communicate better, he would not be so maligned as a talent because a lot of people are just sick of the whiplash that he gives people. He's only wrestled 5 times in AEW. I looked this up. He showed up in last year, start of this year. And he's only wrestled 5 times. So I don't blame him for wanting to be a free agent now because he's done nothing. He's wrestled. The 4 top promotions he wrestled in were MLW, where he had 4 matches, and this is for 2021. So in 2021, he had 4 matches in MLW, 5 matches in AEW. He had 6 matches in Game Changer, GCW, and he had 16 matches in New Japan, which technically was New Japan Strong, the American branch of it. And so far, he's had 2 matches one in GCW and 1 in New Japan for 2022. So even though he's signed to a contract with AEW, he's only had 5 matches. One's been on Dynamite. He had a AEW Dark match that was just 2 minutes. And 2 Dynamite matches that were in tag teams, where he tagged with Dante Martin against the Acclaimed and Dante Martin against Lee Moriarty and Matt Sydal. And he was in the Casino Battle Royale back in May. So he signed in May. And he's only been used 4 times after that, twice in November and twice in December. So I get he wants out. I'm not surprised. He's not the only one, though. Joey Janela wants out, and he hasn't been used. He was a big get for them at the start of the brand 3 years ago. And they haven't used him in 2 years. Marco Stunt's contract is set to expire. And unsurprisingly, Brian Cage's contract is set to expire. And it seems really likely that Brian Cage is going to be a free agent. Brian Cage, what the hell happens to him? Does he go back to Impact? Does he go to Japan? WWE? Oh, no, he's too old. They have the age restriction now on signees, and he's nearly 40.
Yeah, man, I don't know. I don't could pop back up in Impact at this point. You never know. And we didn't because we saw Melissa Santos at the all women's event, right? Um,
I think so. The
yeah,
Impact one?
she met. Yeah, when they
Yeah.
did the one when because when they honored um her name escapes me at the time, the lady who passed
Oh, Daphne.
Daphne, yeah, thanks. They honored her, so obviously there's still some good blood there, at least with Melissa. Um, I don't know. I just think Cage in that spot, man, where it's like he's not a rarity anymore.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't know why I'm blanking, but we got Powerhouse Hobbs. We got the Lance Archers. We got freaking guy who just went to war with Josh Alexander. Jonah.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
Jonah. Like they got guys like Jonah and so many more guys that can big and do that stuff. And it's we've always talked about Cade. Like we know he can do that stuff, but he shouldn't necessarily be doing all the stuff that he does about the cruiserweight stuff because he doesn't need to. But I don't know. Cade has always been in this little weird spot, and he thrived when he was in Lucha Underground, and obviously Impact allowed him to have the ball. But his time was kind of riddled with injuries. But I felt like during that time, like this may be the last chance he gets to actually be a world champion. And there may have been opportunity in AEW, but for whatever reason, they just want in the Brian Cage business because they felt like other guys had better narratives, like the Kenny Omegas, the Jerichos, the John Moxleys, um, and so on and so forth. So he kept getting pushed back to the line and getting pushed back to the line where they were only adding more people to the roster. And yeah, I just it's easy to get lost in that shuffle, and it don't help that he's saying less about getting showcased, and his wife felt like it was she was saying more. So I don't know where he goes. Now, like I say, he could end up back in Impact, but I don't necessarily know if Impact needs another big guy right now. We talked about it. They got Moose, you got Joe Doring, you got freaking Shira,
Mm-hmm.
uh, and you got Morrissey, and they not necessarily doing all of what they could be doing with those guys. Not to mention Fulton. So I don't necessarily know if they need any more big guys, and they just got Jonah, so they don't need a Brian Cage. So it's an interesting space he go find himself in.
Is it so much that they don't need Brian Cage as a big guy, or do they need Brian Cage for a headliner? Because I agree with you, there are a lot of big dudes, but not a lot of them have Cage's name brand appeal because he was a world champion in Impact. And bringing
Yeah,
him in does bolster the main event scene because now you have Cage versus Jonah, you have Cage versus Moose. I don't know. I'm still like on the fence about guys like Macklin and Morrissey.
yeah. Morrissey feels like somebody that's an add-on at this point. He felt like an add-on in that match, um, even more so than Matt did. I mean, there was a better narrative going around with Matt because, like I said, that mid Cardona moniker is hilarious. But yeah, he just felt like he's just around now.
Mm-hmm.
Like at least before when he first came in and he had a directive of like, I'm gonna come in and squash everybody and go after that world title. But he kind of felt like it into that same thing that they unfortunately threw Ken Shamrock in, where it's like Shamrock should be trying to kill Callahan, which they were beefing at the time. But then all of a sudden he turned into his lackey. And then I feel
Mm-hmm.
like they did the same thing with Morris. Was like, I can't beat him, so I'm gonna join him. I'm like, we haven't seen you try to beat him yet. And at every turn, Moose made it clear like I just hired you out of like I got you working on me out of convenience. But the minute I get the opportunity to get you out of my way to get back to this title, that's what he did. He screwed him over. So I don't know. The narrative around Morrissey, I don't feel like we need it. Like you said, Macklin kind of wore out quickly, and I don't know how he kind of rebounds. Like I see more narrative wise for Miguel to have more storylines with challenges than I see Macklin to find like a new thing to do. But who knows? Maybe he'll go after Moose.
The funny thing is that when you think of what Macklin's doing, when you think about what Morrissey's doing, there's not a lot of depth there, and they're
Yeah.
drilling it like there's like a fountain of creativity behind these characters. Macklin's a decent worker, he is, but I wouldn't build a division around him. I don't know, why they think they can do that. I don't know why they put him with Trey. I think they could have done a lot more with that whole time span that they gave to Macklin, and now he's shooting with John Gresham. Whatever. And like Morrissey, like okay, and like think about it, like we could legitimately have like 2019 Impact once again because Brian Cage and Johnny Morrison are free agents. They could come back. I don't know if I'd even want that. Like,
I,
damn.
I forgot all about that, and we talked about getting Talia back, and that might end up being a package deal again.
I don't want any more Johnny Morrison. No, thank you.
We
No,
already
thank you.
put we're already putting over Cardona and his paramour.
I don't need any more. No, no, thank you. I'm good. No.
Person I want to see Talia paired with is Rosemary. That's it.
Person I want to see Todd pair with is Taryn Terrell, but in completely different context in wrestling. Let's talk about the Royal Rumble.
Nice.
Thank you. Yeah, it's this Sunday. Sunday. It's this Saturday. Excuse me. What? I
Gonna
can't
make you
wait for the
suffer.
Royal Rumble to be 2 nights. That'll be fun.
Oh God.
You know it's coming. I don't like men's and women's Royal Rumbles. They're dumb. It really just waters down the whole thing. And then like they announce all the surprises in advance. Like, oh, Michelle McCool, Kelly's, Summer Rae, Mickey James, they're all gonna be here. Oh, Lita's here. Ah, how cool. The Bellas. Ah, I love them, right? You know the Bellas, the two who couldn't wrestle when they didn't have jacked up necks. Cool. So yeah, that's dumb. I would alternate it if you're dead set on doing all things separate but equal. I would have a women's Royal Rumble one year and then the men's Rumble the next year, or I would have the women's Rumble at a different pay per view in like the summer. The men's headliner can headline WrestleMania. The women's can headline SummerSlam. Like having them on both nights just further exacerbates the issues that the WWE have, where they try to double down on everything. 3 Hell in a Cell matches on the same card, 2 Elimination Chambers, and a partridge in a pear tree. They don't understand that less is more. There's a reason why people will show up and buy Floyd Mayweather pay-per-views, why they show up and buy Conor McGregor pay-per-views, why they show up and buy Jake Paul pay-per-views. Because they're not on every week. If you keep giving us the same shit back to back to back to back, we don't care.
Gonna meet at TLC, tables, ladders, and chairs. But this year we're adding stairs.
Oh God,
stairs,
they did
man.
do that. What was that? 2011?
Oh my God, a damn
Because
stairs
that was the
match.
year. Wasn't that the year that Daniel Bryan won the title?
Yeah, I feel like it was. I
Because
feel
Big
like that
Show
might
and
have.
Mark Henry faced off in the chairs match.
Yeah, and I want to say, was this before or after Big Show introduced that like thick ladder that the big guys would use?
I think
Uh,
that was before. 'Cause I feel like he did that when he was with Jericho.
yeah.
I think.
Well,
All right, so here's the card. We're gonna do some quick predictions of the matches, and then we'll ultimately make our Rumble picks. Reigns versus Seth. Nazi fucking Rollins. Wow, Wikipedia. I didn't know you could put that in the middle name. It seems like it's catching on, Marcus. Oh, if you didn't know, Seth Rollins once fucked a Nazi repeatedly. Actually, let me rephrase that. Seth Rollins was engaged to a woman who I'm sure was fine, wonderful lady. Maybe not. I don't know. I wasn't dating her, and he cheated on her with a Nazi. Now, the term Nazi may seem offensive, so let me explain who Zara Schreiber is real fast. She's a woman who collected Nazi paraphernalia. Unless you're a World War II historian, you own a museum, or you are an American and or British soldier who scalped the crowd who was wearing the Nazi emblem, there's no reason for you to own Nazi symbolism. I do capitulate. There are legitimate reasons to own Nazi symbolism that does not involve you being a Nazi. Curator of a museum, a historian, a soldier from World War II. All valid reasons. If your great-grandfather said, I took this from a dead crowd, fair enough. You've earned that Nazi symbolism. Go you, Grandpa. If you're a 20-something millennial who has a Nazi headboard, what was that old Jeff Foxworthy bit? You might be a Nazi.
I don't even want to know how you would excuse that away with a I'm effing away to evil. No, that's not. Yeah, let it go. Let it.
You remember that show Opie and Anthony, right, on the radio?
Mm-hmm.
Well, Anthony Cumia. I don't know why the Italian had to be the asshole, but fair enough. He had an entire collection of Nazi paraphernalia, and he treated it as it was normal. He's like, yeah, I find it fascinating. What?
Yeah.
Which part? The murdering of the Jewish people, the slaughtering of the handicaps, the murder of gay people. Like, what part was fascinating? I'm confused.
It was like, look, man, I hear quacking, and I ain't saying it's one of the Duck brothers, but it's a duck.
Well, it's Occam's razor. If you're in Montana and you hear hoofs, you think horse, not zebra. If you collect Nazi paraphernalia and you did not kill the Nazi who was wearing it, I'm thinking you're a Nazi. It's not a stretch. It's not a stretch at all. It's like the least amount of stretching you can do. If you are 400 pounds and starting your health recovery edict to get into better shape, this is the easiest stretch you can do.
It's hilarious. But also, and then to Seth's credit, he doubled down on your list of things that Chad despises. He may have not sent a little Seth pick to a married woman at the time who was also a former, I guess at this point would be considered a former WWE legend, and Caitlyn.
So that's who the pick went to. I always thought he sent it to Shara and his wife, because his wife was the one who posted it, if I remember correctly. Or his fiance was the one who posted it, if I remember correctly.
Like I felt like we talked about the story about his her husband because I think it was PJ Braun, right? Like he wanted to get his hands on Seth because like you sending pics to my wife, and then she kind of explained it away by saying like that's how he jokes around.
No. What? I do remember this now, actually. I do remember this now. Oh, that's right. And, like, here's the thing. Gentlemen, ladies, here's the thing. If your significant other says to you that you're overreacting or this is just their sense of humor or you don't understand our relationship, they're fucking around on you. Because if you get a flirty text, a semi-nude, a complete nude, there's nothing funny about that unless Seth constantly talks about how little his little Seth is. In that case, it's probably still not funny. It's probably still erotic to him. But when you think about that, like, yeah, never believe somebody when they tried to gaslight you like that. No. They're disgusting people. And, like, I want to like Caitlyn. I do. But, like, Caitlyn's married and she's into Seth. Like, what the fuck? And I fucking hate cheaters, man. I fucking hate them. Like, I still think Lita's a trash bag. It's been 17 years. I know it wasn't my relationship, but I've been cheated on before, and I'm telling you what, man, cheaters are the fucking worst kinds of human beings. They are the worst. Because they're the most selfish. So, you know what? Fuck Seth Rollins. Hopefully one day I can say I beat up Seth Rollins.
Well, hopefully, a resident head of the table will do that this Saturday because I don't see him dropping it to Seth. One, because Reigns' narrative is too good. He's literally carrying SmackDown on his back at this point. And I doubt they're going to have it drop it to a Raw guy so they could have two champions on that brand. But yeah, it's either going to end with a DQ or he's just going to pin him outright because I think Seth was like, he kind of holds more W's now in their last few meetings. So we'll see. Should be a good match, though. All things considered.
So I went to a proboards.com thread because that's like the first thing that popped up talking about Seth's and Caitlyn's at all. Little tete-a-tete. So I'm looking at some of the comments and it's like the third one. And the guy goes, I don't know what to make of this. On the one hand, he has done it before. On the other hand, he has a tiny penis.
Yes. It's how he's like, the thing's too small. Did he really send a dick pic? Stop picking up the count of an actual dick. Did he send you a dick pic or did he send you?
Is that his finger? Like, did he just get out of shoveling snow? Like, what is that? Is that a naked mole rat that's undersized at birth? Like, what's going on here?
A newborn hitchhiking the fuck, man.
And like man, like I don't want to know this stuff about Seth. I don't. But if you're gonna have, because like he had a dick pic that was released by his wife, which is a separate dick pic than the one he sent to Caitlyn. So that's why I got confused. So there's been 2 incidences of him sending dick pics that we know of. I'm just gonna put this out there, like there's probably a third, and maybe all 3 of them together can look like an average sized penis. Oh, I fucking hate Seth Rollins. I don't like him. He's a bad human being. He's a bad human being. Like, I like Roman Reigns. Not as a wrestler, but as a man, hell yeah. Love me some Joseph Anawahi. Yeah, I got it right the second time. I remember writing about him in like 2007, like, oh, he's the cousin of Rosie. He could make a great professional wrestler. I was wrong. I was wrong. I didn't expect him to actually show up in pro wrestling, but hey, that's cool. And I know he's got a lot of fans, but as a wrestler, he just bores the shit out of me. To be fair, he's always bored the shit out of me, so like that's not new. But he's a good dude. I like him.
Just imagine him like it was like in one of those situations, bro. Like, let me borrow a dick pic of yours to send to my girl. Send to a girl, that gooker, and then Reigns is in full character the whole time. So he sends a dick pic to help his boy out, but in the text he goes, "Acknowledge me."
Oh, it's a great looking pic. Thanks, Becky. You marble mouth. What? No. You could just imagine too, like if Seth ever sends Rowan's dangle to Becky replied with, "I know it's not yours because I can still see it."
You're like, Roman, this is you, isn't it? Text back, believe that.
So hopefully Roman Reigns beats up Seth Rollins. So fuck off, Nazi fucker. Go off into the ether. Fade away into nothing. I want you to fade away into nothing.
Oh, it's been so long.
It's been so long since I did Fabian Cortez. Magneto, you are old and outdated. You're barely being held together. Like, why are you inflexing so much on that voice, man? Like, what is up with you, Fabian? Love it. I'm gonna go watch that episode just to hear him do his whole monologue to Magneto before he throws him out of Amsterdam.
Oh
Falling
man,
apart, it seems, Magneto. Lord Magnus, you will fade away into nothing. And like, I'm not even being exaggerating when I'm inflexing his voice. Like, that is what he sounds like. Oh,
he reminds me.
I can't wait for that cartoon to come back, and they better bring him back, Marcus.
Oh my God, he just reminds me of old dude from Robin Hood Men in Tights. You dared to kill a king's dad. I'm like, does everything have to be this? Every time you talk, you insult me, Loxley.
Oh, that's right. What is that? The prince, or is that the sheriff?
That was the sheriff. The
that's
sheriff
right.
out of dared to kill a king's dad, Loxley.
Loxley. He's got that marble mouth Sean Connery going on. Loxley. I like it. Speaking of liking it, I don't like this. Edge and Beth Phoenix versus The Miz and Maurice. I don't like it at all.
What should be a foregone conclusion is going to be a drawn out, unnecessary back and forth, because not like Beth couldn't dog walk both of them herself.
Yeah, and like that's the thing. Like, I don't know why we're doing Miz and Edge. Like, that's the least compelling matchup you can think of. And then you have Maurice, who physically has not bounced back from her two babes. And let's be honest, that ain't easy to do. So there's no judgment here. But if you're going to put someone who had two rough pregnancies back in the ring against Beth Phoenix, who's a bodybuilder by trade, you better find someone more compelling, because, like, no, Maurice in her prime was not that good. She's nearly 40. She's had 2 kids, which pregnancy wrecks the body. Like, women just, damn, like the shit you go through to procreate. But most women don't bounce back that easily. And Maurice has not bounced back, and she wasn't that athletic to begin with. So, like, physically, like, this is a dumb match. Like, why are we doing this? Maurice isn't a legitimate threat, and The Miz is as compelling as Maurice's reality show.
Yeah, and the way they've been able to milk that is impressive. If for no other reason than they've been able to keep it on air as long as they have, which I think has been an added benefit, obviously, for WWE. But there's obviously the Total Divas and Total Bellas narrative ran dry. But Yeah, this is unnecessary. And the funny thing is, we were begging for them to get him away from Orton, and now it's like, sometimes you get what you ask for, then sometimes you just get some completely different.
And like the thing is,
Go
like
back to yeah,
I'm
anything else.
still glad that they got him away from Oregon. But they could have gone in
Yeah,
any other direction. Any other direction.
he could be facing Styles right now. That's a good matchup. Like you don't right now.
Like literally anything. He could be doing anything, man. Like Brock, Bobby, MVP, Dewdrop. I'm gonna just madcap. Almost. Otis,
You know what,
Rude.
dude?
I think I just named the entire men's Raw and SmackDown roster with those 12 names. God, this is a depleted ass company. I didn't realize that Maurice was actually 39. I thought she was more like 37. Our heroes are 80.
Yeah,
What is Beth? 40? I'm saying Beth is 43. What is Beth? Beth is 41.
that's funny. She looks like she's in her 30, but
Well, yeah, she's a goddamn bodybuilder, man. She looks fantastic.
literally looks like she could be in the Amazon. She could have been one of the Amazons in the Snyder Cut. But yeah, I mean, the last time this couple crap worked, it was when Miz and Maurice were going against John and Nikki. And the best part about that feud was they legitimately got to mock that relationship for the clown fest that it was.
You're not wrong. I guess Beth Phoenix has her own gym now. That's cool.
Oh wow, that's nice.
Yeah, I looked her up on Google and there's a photo of her and the caption is I pick things up and she's at the gym, but there's a giant Beth Phoenix logo on the gym wall. So I'm guessing that's her gym. And she's yoked, man. Like she's got bigger traps than I do. And I got some decent sized traps. Like I'm impressed with her. Like, she's a specimen, man. And I think the funny
Yeah.
thing is like if you actually saw Beth Phoenix in like circa 2005, she looked more like Taryn Terrell than anything. So like to see her metamorphosis is astounding. This woman's impressive, and I actually kind of dig the hair she was pulling off when she debuted or returned, I should say. I thought that was pretty
Yeah.
slick.
Yeah, she looks great, man. Like I said, I'm still not halfway over Edge coming back with full abs. Because it was such a long time where it's just like I'm giving dad by long before I'm a dad. But yeah, they could just be doing anything else. But I get it. That's they love the couple thing. Um, but yeah, that should be a handicap match, and they just let Beth do her thing and put Edge on commentary, put his wife over with stuff that have nothing to do with the match.
You know, Edge and Beth kind of make me wish that they had a intergender tag team division. I'm not a big fan of the like the one-on-one men on women stuff, but like women on women, men on men, in a tag team division, like that'd be dope. I think
Be,
that'd be cool.
be careful what you wish for, Chad. We wanted them away from Orton, and we got this. You're asking for intergender stuff. They'll just bring back goddamn mixed match challenge,
If
married couples edition.
if they put a title on the line, didn't air it on Facebook, I don't know. It wouldn't be the worst. Wouldn't be the worst thing. I mean, it wouldn't be the
And you
best
could just
thing.
do Jim. I mean, you could just do them against Jimmy Uso and Naomi.
No,
Be the worst. Just said, dog.
no.
No.
Also,
Oh yeah,
let's
I know you
let's
don't want to see.
let's no. What's that?
I know you don't want to see Graves and Mella. By the way, why does he look like either a meth head or like
You
a
just answered
Nazi
the
apprentice?
question.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like saying why does Seth Rollins fuck Nazis? I don't know. He's not. It's not like he's Nazi adjacent. I did
Like
not
if
see
this
that
is
coming.
feels like if this is nature.
Also, by the by, Beth Phoenix has the best jawline in wrestling. Fight me. Fight me, nerds. Oh, that is one hell of a jawline. Oh, Marcus, this is funny as shit. I gotta send this to you. I guess this was right after day one. This was made. I mean, it's accurate. Let me know if you got it.
That
Yep, there it is.
OG Christian look, yeah.
That was he never had good hair, man. Like some guys got good hair, he does not.
Oh man, well yeah, her that faux hawk braided look that is perfect for her right now. But
Are, are
yeah.
we both going with Edge and Beth?
Oh, absolutely.
Dewdrop, Becky. I think we're both going with Becky. Kind of sucks to be, Dewdrop, Piper Niven, Viper, whatever you want to call her. Remember when she was on Impact's, what was that, Gut Check? Not Gut Check. What was that show? British Boot Camp.
Yeah, that's it sucks they don't do that kind of stuff anymore. But
Hopefully
yeah,
one day soon.
those gut check segments was like legendary most times for the cringe of it.
Mm-hmm.
But Taz had some interesting moments. Let's
All right. Brock versus Bobby. The only reason to care about this entire fucking pay-per-view. Who's it going to be,
yeah,
Brock or Bobby?
Kaiju fight we've been with. Let them fight. So Viking versus Blurby.
Why is it that,
So
that Brock gets the Viking, and then we talk about Blurby, Black Kirby?
it's just a thing. You can't live down with Bobby Lashley's sisters. I mean, bro, what the hell are they? Never mind. With his family at ringside. um,
I'll say this: his one sister had a better mustache than he could ever hope to grow.
oh my god.
That was
Yeah, that's
that was like, and Bobby left
yeah.
Impact for that. Like,
No, no, no. On the road to get to being the destroyer. Um, I'm sorry, the Almighty. He had to go through that. But yeah, I'm going with Bobby. Um, just because it feels like the natural like Lashley's not Lashley. Lesnar's been sunning him in these segments. These segments really haven't benefited Lashley at all. Brock's
mm,
kind of just been running with it to the point where he made a joke and it was actually a good one. And when Lesnar's making funny jokes, this is a one-sided thing. Now, obviously, it's gonna be a good match. I hope it's a solid affair. But yeah, it needs to be Lashley. It needs to be Lashley. Obviously, the whole company's narrative is around Lesnar, but I think it should go back to Bobby. I might be going against. I might be going with my head, my heart, not my head on that. But I'm going with Lashley.
I mean, how many times have I said that Sting was going to win the world title every time he wrestles? So I get it.
I mean, to be fair, that kind of felt like the booking for a minute in Impact. And to their credit, they were right. Specifically, wait a minute. Was Sting? Yeah, Sting was the champion when he faced Jeff, right?
Yes,
In that match.
yes.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I'm about to say that. They kind of had no choice at that point. But
Beat up Jeff Hardy.
yeah, Jeff Hardy. Never forget, Sting debuted the last version of the TNA Heavyweight title. That was great.
Yep.
Um, but yeah, I'm going with Lashley because eventually you have to circle things back around to Lesnar and Reigns.
Yeah. Now, to bring that up, full circle, we don't know if it's going to be for the Universal title, or if it's going to be for the WWE title, or if it's going to be a title for title. Because it's very possible that Rollins beats Reigns and Lesnar retains against Lashley, but it's also possible that Lashley beats Lesnar and Reigns retains against Rollins. It's also possible that Lesnar and Reigns both retain.
Yeah.
So we got some moving parts to this, if you will. I'm going to go with Brock. Only because in my head I believe they're going with title for title. And I think this might be because this is a depleted company. Like they don't have any stars anymore. Like they fired half of their roster, if not more, 3/5 maybe. I think they're gonna end their brand split unless they are like dead set on calling up guys like Bronson or Steiner and whatever that Italian stereotype they have down there is, and a few of the other guys. Like unless they're all being called up to work Raw and SmackDown, I don't see them having the guys needed to sustain 2 shows. So I could see the brand split ending. Plus, Fox and USA are not happy that each other show is getting what they want. So I could see them ending the brand split to appease both sides of that equation. This is why you don't do deals with 2 different sides of the equation. It was the downfall of Nazism in Germany. They started slapping around the United States and Britain, and then we're like, we don't like that. And then they're like, well, we're going to stop. We're never going to stop. Hey, Russia, you're going to have our back? Yeah, you were. And then like, now we're doing it to Russia. And Russia's like, dude, you think I'm going to fucking lay down for that? We fight bears for fun, fucker. I feel like that's what's happening with Vince. USA Network and Fox are like, why are you giving him stuff? Why aren't you giving us stuff? It's like a dude who's like, you know, it'd be great to have 2 girlfriends who know about each other and don't have a problem with it. This is what happens. You're spending too much time with her. Why did you buy her a diamond necklace, but I only got a gold-plated earring set? Why does she get to meet your parents, but I only get to meet your friends? Why does she get Tuesdays, but I'm stuck with Thursdays? You know how I feel about Thursdays. They're the worst. Like, this is what this is becoming. So, yeah, I could easily see them just taking away the brand split. And it would piss me off because the brand split's some of the best eras of this company. Like, what was it, 2016 they started the brand split again?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, when they first, yeah, because that was when SmackDown was hot.
Yeah, SmackDown was great. Heath and Rhino doing the tag team division, the loaded fucking tag team division that they had. Yeah, AJ Styles was the champion. I think John Moxley was the champion. Oh my God, he does look like a crackhead. That is that is not good. All I'm thinking when I see this look is, damn, this is a dude who lured a 17-year-old whose birthday is tomorrow to come do a porn shoot the next day. Oh, you're turning 18? I ran a modeling agency. You're all right with nudity, right? Like that. That's this dude. That's this dude.
Straight edge modeling.
Oh, God. I wouldn't be surprised if this dude's not straight edge. I wouldn't be surprised. Oh, he's such a jag-off. And, like, who gives a shit about Corey Graves wrestling again? Do you know how good Sterling James Keener, his former name, was? Like, do you know how good he was in the ring? He wasn't. He had a look. He was attractive. I'm using air quotes. He wasn't talented. But, like, if this is, like, what you're, left with as the WWE, if this is what you're relying on is a 42-year-old who retired a decade ago when he wasn't that good in the first place, you're fucked. Like, it's one thing for Impact to bring back 49-year-old Charlie Haas to do a short program with Josh Alexander. It's an interesting name. We haven't seen it before. Pop a rating, pop an interest. That's cool. They're not relying on him. But you fired Braun Strowman, Jonah. Who else have they fired? Samoa Joe, although he's kind of old too. Like,
yeah.
Smorgasbord, Rusev.
Yeah, Keith Lee, Karrion Kross.
There we go. Like, you fired these cats who are all like under 38. I think Kross is like 36, and I think Keith Lee's 35. But, like, they're still fairly young. And you're replacing them with Sterling James douchebag over here? Crackhead Keenan? Like, what are we doing? What are we doing? If he shows up in the Rumble, I'm just going to cry. Speaking of Rumble, Marcus, who's the winner in the women's Rumble, and why is it Lita?
It's Lita because the narrative ultimately serves Charlotte's ego.
It always serves Charlotte's
Want-
ego.
want- Wanted to be Bianca Belair, but they don't necessarily need it. I mean, it's not like they haven't done back-to-back Rumble winners of that's the same person before. But with seemingly no other challengers on the damn World brand, um, they could just throw Bianca right back in her face with a qualifying triple threat where she beats Doudrop and freaking Liv Morgan again.
What do you mean that they don't have qualified top tier talent? They have Carmella and Tamina, two legitimate possibilities to win this. I'm sorry. Even I don't believe what I just said.
Oh, I'm sorry, I got that. Is Johnny Knoxville in the women's or the men's run?
Well, it depends. How do you feel about drag?
Hilarious.
I'm going to go I'm going with Lita. Lita's winning this.
Yeah.
But if I'm going to pick a name that I think is a dark horse, I wouldn't be totally, but still a bit surprised if Shotzi won it.
Mm.
That could be my fandom poking through. Remember when she was
Yeah,
in Impact? I do.
oh man, I'm telling you, she got me when she hosted Halloween Havoc in NXT.
Yeah,
I
I
was
get it.
like, oh yeah, okay, she's yeah, oh yeah, yep, she's giving that some of that Morticia kiss up and down the arm vibes. But yeah, that's a damn good dog horse. Like I said, I went back and looked at that list. I always want to give Naomi something, but I feel she might be facing off with. They got her going back and forth with freaking what's her face, the MMA girl.
Which girl?
The MMA the one that got stalked.
Shanna Baszler.
No, not Shanna Baszler. The one who
The
was
GM?
yeah, they got her going back and forth with her for whatever final reason. I'm like, you guys refuse to do anything worth a damn with Naomi. Um, so if she's in there, she's a dark horse for me. But yeah, ultimately, like I say, the narrative is around Lita because of what it does with Charlotte, and it speaks volumes to where they are in that women's division. That Charlotte's only conceivable opponent outside of Sasha Banks, which I don't know when she's gonna fully recover and be back, is Lita, and Becky's only potential opponent is somebody she's had about 10 matches with already. So it's, it is what it is.
It's not a great situation to be in. I don't even know who Aaliyah is. So that's something. The men's rumble. A little bit more open. It definitely does seem like Brock and Reigns won't be doing a unifying match. Unless Brock shows up in the rumble, which is like... oh, God, that's what they're going to do, isn't it? How many people are in this rumble? Hang on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5... 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. There's still 7 slots unannounced. Brock and or Roman and or both could still win this. I mean, not both, but you know what I mean. Marcus, Brock may lose and then still win the Rumble. Or Roman may lose, then still win the Rumble. Talk about a dick kick in the dick kick. Like that would not be. That would suck.
Yeah, let's go with that because I feel like the way WWE moves, Knoxville will be one of the final 4. So let's go with that.
Although that would be great, seeing Brock Lesnar throw around Johnny Knoxville. I could honestly see Austin Theory winning this.
I don't know where he's been, but I'll throw in just random because I ultimately don't care. I'll throw Finn in there.
That'll be interesting. There is a new report, however, that says that they don't like Finn anymore, and that they would release him, but they don't want him to go to AEW. Yup.
Gee, I
How
wonder
true
what's
that
the
is, I don't know, but that's the
Gee, I wonder what's the narrative around Mustafa then. Like what the
Mustafa.
like no, we don't want him going to GCW.
We don't want him working the Canadian Indies. Calgary's had enough. And I don't even get why Austin Theory is on the roster. The dude is as bland as paper. I've never heard a
Yeah,
good promo from him, and he seems pretty unoriginal. I don't know.
yeah, it's not good. Has Styles won a Rumble yet? No.
No.
They need to be doing something else with Styles. He could be in a far more important spot than he is right now. Like I said, I thought they would have geared him towards Edge, but they're both faces at this point. So um,
All right, so here's my actual pick, and I hate that I'm making it, but you're gonna laugh because it's totally what they would do. It's gonna be Omos. Like you can just see it. He wins the Rumble. Brock loses to Bobby, or Roman loses to Seth, and then Omos takes whoever is who's still champion, and then they do Brock and Bobby. Not Brock and Bobby. They do Brock and Reigns at WrestleMania, while Bobby or whoever gets Omos. Like you know that's a possibility.
almost okay. So you got him winning all the way, not just giving him the Kane spot.
Yep.
Okay.
And to be clear, I don't want that to be the case. I just expect it to be the case.
Hmm.
Yep. Unless John Cena returns.
Yeah, the maker of peace. That would be interesting.
I haven't
Can't
seen
see
that
him
show
giving.
yet. Is it any good?
Yeah, yeah. It's got some elements to it. They certainly have turned the spin on the peacemaker. That is not the not peacemaker. Certainly have done a spin on vigilante. That is not the vigilante from the Arrowverse. Um,
For better or worse.
for better. He does get to beat up some racists in the show. Um, so there's a thing. And the guy that mild spoiler, the guy that plays what the I guess the T-1000
Robert
that
Patrick.
comes yeah is Cena's dad.
No, that I knew.
Okay.
The opening dance scene though, like the whole intro, I don't know. Cena looks so bulky trying to dance. Like I have to wonder if they actually said, "Hey, don't have rhythm," or if he just doesn't have any rhythm.
It was like just pretend like just pretend like you're running the ropes again, but like in like choreography wise.
Right? Like walk like a statue. Yeah, do it. Marcus, who's your pick? Because I'm going almost.
Yeah, man, you went on. I did not, but you got a point there. I don't see, like I said, man, they don't fed the New Day to Brock at this point. So as much as I would like to go with Big E, um, there's absolutely no hope ever in life for Rude and Ziggler. That little thing they did with Rey Mysterio and his son is adorable, but adorable is where it starts and stops. Not finna pull the trigger on anybody from the Street Profits. I don't even know if Balor's in it.
As of right now, he's not. He's not listed. I should say.
Yeah,
So like you could pick him.
it. Yeah, it's You know what? Screw it. I'll go with AJ. You going almost? I'll go AJ. It'd be funny if this actually come down to the two of them. That'll be some full circle stuff.
It's like that scene from fucking Psych where Sean calls himself black and Gus calls himself tan. So they walk up to the door, and Sean's like, "Black and tan were models," and he looks at Gus, and the guy goes, "Sorry about that, black," and Sean goes, "I'm black. He's tan. Can't believe you just made that mistake." So like you're thinking like, "Oh, who's gonna pick Omos? He's gonna pick AJ Styles." They look up Marcus, so you picked Omos. And I'm like, I picked Omos. I can't believe you just made that mistake. So apparently Marcus really thinks that beating up John Cena is the way to go to the title. Because he's part of that Styles community.
Or in my mind, I'm twisted at this point, so I'm like,
I'm sorry about that.
you,
I blame myself.
it's been enough years. It fits. It tracks. But like almost just like beating up Styles and like Styles got nothing left. It's like I don't know how Styles gonna rally back, and then almost whispers in his ear, he voted for Obama both times. You know how Styles feels about him.
He picks up almost like the Grinch hoisting the sled. And Styles' redneck grew 3 sizes that day. Almost whispers in his ear, I'm coming out on Ellen.
Ah! Oh my God, the knees are buckling. The knees are buckling from the revelation of the gay community. The knees are buckling. Oh.
I'm not sure if that would embolden Styles to hoist Omos over his head or if that would cause Styles to jump headfirst over the rope to get away from him. Either way, it's one or the other.
See, this is why me and Chad can't book finales and stuff. Like if that was Chad's idea, like the Obama and the that made Styles stronger, then I'd book pan to the audience. And it's the foot. The foot is in us. Nobody knows who the woman is. Styles just gets glances at it, then his knees buckle and almost recover.
Claire Lynch is actually the mother of Omos. That's AJ's affair, baby.
Hilarious. Oh my God. Oh.
And Styles goes, wait, we're both white. How did he come out 7'2" in black? And she just shrugs. Black magic, obviously.
And it just Styles just does the Vader. No.
Oh, even better. Even better. So he goes, how does Omos come out 7'2" in black? And Claire Lynch goes, AJ, I did a 23andMe on you. You're 2% African American. Then he drops, no.
Oh my God. Perfect.
I'm just saying, if Omos is 2%, if Omos has that from Styles, like that's got to be some aggressive 2%, right? He is a dark man. There is no biraciality in him whatsoever.
And they just elongate this process, almost celebrating for like a good 7 minutes. And I put Styles on the apron to give the same look that Magnus did after he lost to him in the BFG Series final. Just looking dejected.
Oh, here's the best part. In this scenario, Omos is only 10. So after Omos wins, Claire Lynch serves AJ with child child support payments.
Wait, but it gets better because me and Chad are TNA purists. So he got the birth dates of his kids on his side.
A tattoo on the pole match. Where if Omos wins, he has to put Omos' birth date on his abs. Ah! I love it. You can finally put a new youngest champion in the WWE record books instead of what was that little kid's name with Strowman. I don't remember, but like I think he was like 12. Almost would be 10 in this scenario.
Oh my God!
See, this is how we make it work. We're gonna check off all the boxes. It'll be great. I love it. The chaos that comes from this fucking show. At least it would make the product halfway entertaining.
Yeah, it's just that we be the only ones that got the Lynch bit because everybody like, who the freak is that supposed to be? Well, is that AJ's real wife?
Oh, jeez. Ooh, because of Lynch, we could be like, yeah, she's Becky Lynch's cousin. And then we could rope in Seth Rollins into all this. And then almost can turn face because he'll beat up the Nazi fucker. Yeah. All right. That's it. That's all we got.
Yeah.
RealNerdCorp.com, RealNerdCorp.com. Marcus can be found on Twitter at ParadoxKid, ParadoxKid.
Me.
You can also find him on his other podcast, The True Painting Show, on Twitter at True Painting Show, TruePennyShow. I'm on Twitter, Chad Nerdcorp, ChedNerdCorp, and on the Instagram at Chad's Photo Hut. Be sure to tune in next Monday or Tuesday, I don't know, for another edition of the Wrestling Underground podcast. For Marcus, I'm Chad. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for checking us out. Thanks for giving us a chance. Remember, as always, to watch more wrestling. And Marcus, take us home.
Good night, me.